On this episode of Riff and Rock Music Talk, I verbally berate a half-an-hour album. Ryan praises Willie Nelson and his transcendental abilities, and, oh yeah, the Avett Brothers are around. Check it out, Riff and Rock Music Talk.
Yeah.
So, Riff and Rock Music Talk Episode 2. We have made a sequel. Hopefully this time, the sequel will be better than the original. So this is going to be hopefully The Empire Strikes Back to the A New Hope.
But what about the first episode that never saw the light of day?
That was kind of like The Phantom Menace, and we hope we never have our own personal Phantom Menace.
Okay, yeah.
I
agreed.
Yeah, so after the raging success that episode 1 was, we decided to go ahead and listen to 3 new albums. I think 2 of these came out in 2012, so somewhat relevant, and 1 came out in 2010, and that was one Ryan was adamant that we reviewed.
It didn't come out in 2010, it came out in 2012.
This Avett Brothers album?
Yeah.
That came out in 2010.
Are you sure?
Live Volume 3? Yes.
Oops.
Did you listen to the wrong thing?
No, I just... It was introduced to Indiana in 2012.
Well, Indiana's a little bit behind the times. When I first moved to Indiana, they were talking about how big Nirvana's going to be when they blow up. They're going to be a little disappointed in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I guess since we're on the topic of the Avett Brothers, one of the albums we listened to was Live Volume 3, which is coincidentally a live album by the folk group the Avett Brothers, a concert that took place in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the, no joke, Bojangles Coliseum.
Hell yeah.
On August 8th, 2009. So, what did you... This was your idea. This is your harebrained scheme to listen to this. What was your motivation to listen to the Avett Brothers Live Volume 3?
Well, my first exposure to the Avett Brothers was a concert they did on, what was it called? Austin City Limits. And it was beautiful, the way that they, like, switched instruments, like, between songs, and, like, the way that they sang together and played. It was, like, folky, but you can tell that they're just, like, all they did was listen to punk rock. It was beautiful. And so I thought that that energy would transfer to, like, an audio version, like, without all the spectacle, and still be successful.
And did it meet your expectations then?
It definitely did. I love what they do. They do it so well.
Let's preface this that folk music is generally not my taste. It's not that I dislike it, it's just I don't find a lot of it that I particularly enjoy. A lot of times I'm just I'm like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. This time, I will say that this isn't something, again, I would actively listen to, but I get why these guys got so popular. And my understanding is that they're a pretty big band at this point. If they're playing at the Bojangles Coliseum, I mean,
Yeah, they gotta be big.
Ooh, the sponsor of the Bojangles Coliseum is Bojangles Famous Chicken and Biscuits.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, god damn it. Fuck you, North Carolina.
So I'm guessing on that North Carolina day, all 9,000 seats were filled up. I could definitely see the appeal. And like you said, these guys definitely listen to punk rock. Or they had to have been a punk band or something at some point.
Yeah, they started off as a punk rock band.
Which is apparent by the one... Again, I don't even know who was singing, but the one guy who's like... punk screams during it.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the world? I swear it was like some guy just showed up at the wrong concert.
No, that's the older brother of the two brothers.
He's
loves screaming.
It sounded like he had swallowed a chainsaw with some of those screams.
Yeah, but it was like so heartfelt sometimes.
Yeah, and I have to say that kind of what you said. I like that the instruments were changing constantly. The one song would play, they'd have this collection of instruments, and then a different collection of instruments, and then a different collection of instruments. They were always changing it up.
Yeah, so the band is composed of 4 people. The 2 brothers who play drums, piano, banjo, guitar, whatever they need. Sometimes they play guitar and drums, or banjo and drums at the same time. It's really interesting how they do that. Then they have a bassist and a cellist who looks like he belongs in a metal band. He's got long hair. He starts whipping it around while playing cello. It's beautiful to see. But the bassist and the cellist, they stick to their instruments while the two brothers just go crazy on whatever instruments they feel like playing.
Okay. So yeah, and I have to also preface, I have not listened to any of their studio albums. I may have inadvertently listened to a studio song once, but I wouldn't know it.
Yeah, their songs are. I like their studio efforts. They are pretty good, except for their most recent album, which was produced by Rick Rubin, who usually makes some really good swear words. Sorry, fucking albums. Like those 6 albums he did with Johnny Cash, they're beautiful.
You know what? I have to pause at this moment. I fucking hate Rick Rubin. He has some very specific ways he does albums, and I just don't like his style. Like, one of the things I've noticed is, like, he loves to have extra, like, vocal lines in the background, and it just always sounds goofy to me. He helped do the first Mars Volta album, and in the background you can hear a bunch of, like, oh, yes, oh, yeah. I'm like, why is this here? Or when he helped do, I think it was the last Rage Against the Machine album, the cover album, which... okay, we knew it wasn't off to a good start. In the background, there's a bunch of just, oh, yeah, oh, yes.
I never noticed that before.
You listen to it. Like, that's the thing with Rick Rubin is, if you listen to his albums once, Rick Rubin album once or twice, you go, okay, it's great. But then if you listen to those albums over and over again, they get ruined by these stupid little background details because the first time you don't catch it, it doesn't really register. But once you pick it, like, this kind of kills the song. Just all these, like, oh, yeah, come on, babies, in the background.
Man, now I'm going to have to pay particular attention next time I listen to America 3.
I'm sure there's a bunch of Johnny Cash going, what?
Oh, baby.
Baby.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
Rick was nice enough to not fuck with Johnny Cash, but
You never know.
Johnny will probably send people out to murder him, but
Well, he definitely did it with Jay-Z. Now
Rick
that makes a
Rubin?
lot of sense. Yeah, because he did whatever album had 99 Problems on it. He was in the music video. They were just walking around.
but it's on the Black Album. 99 Problems is Black Album.
Yeah, he did the Black Album.
And if you listen, he adds all these little cute details that the first time around you go, it's Rick Rubin. Then after I went, he ruined this. He's one of those producers that just can't stop fucking with what he's got. It's like, let's just do this too and add a little bit of this.
Boy, was he wrong.
I figure if Rick Rubin did so you said he did the Avett Brothers? He did this last one?
The most recent album, I think it's called The Carpenter.
Yes.
I am not a fan of that album at all because it sounds like one big Target soundtrack for a Target commercial.
Probably
it's
if you listen to it, there's a bunch of yeah, kick it, what in the background.
Well, the Avett Brothers kind of do that already, but it works. It's kind of their thing sometimes.
However, Rolling Stone put it on their top 50 albums for 2012.
The Carpenter?
I was looking at it the other day. That list is so god-awful, it's not even funny. Then again...
Was Bob Dylan's Tempest on there?
I didn't see it, but they put like one of the Green Day albums on there because Green Day, for some reason, released 3 albums in 1 year. And they went, that's a good idea.
They certainly did. They went all Matrix on people and released 2 things like 2 months apart from each other.
Their list was just goofy. They had another list that was like, it was best albums of 2000s. I think there were 3 Kings of Leon's albums on there.
An NSYNC celebrity, I bet.
There was the one Justin Timberlake album on there, which I'll concede. Fine, whatever.
Which one? Future or which?
I don't know.
What's the name of it? Love Song or whatever.
Maybe.
That one album everybody likes.
But yeah, the list was so bizarre. There was like a bunch of Kings of Leon. I think there was like 50 Snow Patrol and Arctic Monkeys albums because people can't get enough of that shit.
I honestly have never listened to them, any of those bands.
You probably have.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Or Interpol or any of those just like...
indie rock.
Just stuff that goes great in a car commercial or a cell phone commercial or a Target commercial.
Or a Rolling Stone magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is just one big commercial.
Basically.
Sorry, Rolling Stone. You sold out.
But did you know Jimi Hendrix is the greatest guitarist of all time?
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
So is Kurt Cobain. He's number 87 on the list.
Yeah, using a wah pedal and then
Shouting.
shouting grungy. That's remarkable.
That
That's
list
unheard of.
that list had Kurt Cobain and it didn't even have Adrian Belew. But
That
I'm
I'm
sorry,
not
Adrian
surprised.
Belews animal noises far surpass any drug-induced nonsense Kurt Cobain ever produced.
And this is the Thompson's Gazelle.
You have to hold the guitar under your armpit and do the Macarena at the same time, otherwise it doesn't come out properly. So this is a good album, though. I admit that again, not my normal cup of tea, but I had to concede by the end of it that I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't have that punk element to it, I definitely would have not liked it. I would have went, this is just more folk music that seems to be kind of popular this day and age. But the little harder edge was definitely it was good. I think it's worth picking up.
Yeah, I agree.
I would
Um,
the one complaint I would really have is the amount of pandering. It's funny enough, it's not them so much as the audience is terrible.
oh yeah, well it's North Carolina. Sorry, people from North Carolina,
There are
but
people from
you're rowdy.
But you cheer for everything. There's like one lyric where he says like I called my mom and the audience just goes apeshit over it. They could have said, "We just ordered from Subway. We're getting tuna melt," and the audience would have went nuts.
Woo!
Tuna melt! And they just
White
kind of,
American cheese, yeah.
sorry, we got Swiss. Get the fuck out, you commie bastard!
Yeah.
I was just confused that they just went crazy over everything. Though on the safe side, Avett Brothers also pandered. They said some nice typical lines like, "It's good to be back home. I don't know why we ever leave. This song's for you people. Separate the races." No, they didn't say that one. They would have still probably got cheers. They were in North Carolina.
That's true. Even though they're a very civilized state, they have some problems.
They're still working on it. We're being patient in North Carolina.
Yeah, we can wait.
Should people pick up this album?
Absolutely. But it is a live album, so like you might not be as familiar with the songs as say the people in the audience. So there might be a little bit of disconnect, but aside from that, it's very great. The songs are pretty catchy,
Yes.
and you're guaranteed to have a good time.
I liked Kick Drum Heart.
As did I.
Yeah, that's a catchy song.
Yeah, I like the part where with the kick drum it goes boom 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 boom.
I kind of forgot how few of the songs actually have drum parts.
Not many.
A couple in the beginning and then maybe one or two at the end, but most of the middle there's no drums at all, which I'm okay with. It works.
Yeah, only there are a couple ballads
Yes,
like the Ballad of Love and Hate and Murder in the City.
those are all the one brother. Like that's the one brother that sings those specifically. I don't remember which brother it is.
Well,
Maybe it was Seth that sang those.
no, one did each.
Oh,
Yeah, they didn't both sing both those songs.
okay.
Yeah.
The ballads are acceptable. Normally a ballad will make me cringe and run away. They were acceptable ballads.
They're tear jerkers
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yeah, the
I
ballad of Love and
cried
Hate
once.
especially.
Yeah, especially when it gets all passionate in the middle of the song.
He goes, "I'm gonna just repeat this part because I like it so much," and the audience goes crazy again.
I think that's because he messed up.
At first, I thought, "Oh no, this could turn to a Fish concert. They're gonna repeat the same thing for 50 minutes."
Sorry, Fish. You play long songs.
Sorry, Fish. A song where you say David Bowie 6 times and then play a 20-minute piano solo does not constitute as a song to me.
Well, not yet.
No, but they did do a song like that. It's called David Bowie. They say David Bowie 6 times and then they jam for half an hour.
Do you think they're trying to like summon him from like a mirror, like in those junior high kind of superstitions where if you say Biggie Smalls in front of a mirror 3 times, he shows up and kills you? Maybe if you say David Bowie enough times, he'll show up and party with you.
Only Thin White Duke though. The other David Bowies don't come out.
Oh, not Ziggy.
So
Not
Ziggy is much more difficult to channel. You actually have to sacrifice someone to get Ziggy to come out.
Oh, it's
Thin White
Fish.
Duke.
That's
Thin
easy.
Yeah, true. Thin White Duke comes out on his own accord, as long as you have a bag of cocaine for him
Oh,
and a carton of
yes.
milk. He needs both.
Let's just be thankful that the Berlin years Bowie doesn't show up. God, what a forgettable period of music history.
Which is funny because Pitchfork Media dubbed it the best David Bowie era.
Ugh.
Low was their #1 album of the 70s.
Oh my! Come on, Pitchfork.
We
You're
love you,
starting to become
Pitchfork,
like
but seriously,
Rolling Stone. What the hell?
if Rolling Stone is pandering to the popular vote, Pitchfork is just purposely doing the opposite just to appear
Controversial?
exactly. But pick up this album.
Yeah, you better pick it up, people.
Yes. Uh, Speaking of things that sound like
Wait.
music.
Hang on. Can we backtrack for a second?
Yes.
Pick up the Avett Brothers album, Live Volume 3, not David Bowie's Low.
Black Tie White Noise is a shitty album. Deal with it. Speaking of things that come from outer space, we also listened to Animal Collective's Centipede Hurts.
Oh my god, what an album. What a miraculous piece of work. Oh, you don't know how much I enjoy just turning this on and being completely astounded.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a great way. It's so beautiful.
I love this album. I was really confused that it didn't get more attention.
Well, I mean,
It's
some other great albums came out the same week, Taylor Swift.
If I were to have a choice between recommending Centipede Hurts by Animal Collective and Taylor Swift's Red, I would offer Centipede Hurts just to kind of offer people a new experience.
A new time signature.
It's just two infinity symbols on top of each other.
Like, Jesus Christ, the very first song sounds like Bobcat Goldthwait screaming into a blender. You guys.
Admittingly, I am a fan of Animal Collective.
As am I.
I personally prefer some of their earlier work where it was just bogus nonsense and like just transistor radios and shit that just sounded terrible. I liked it because to me it made more sense.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's just goofy music. I'm like, it's goofy, I laugh, it's fun. When they moved to I think it was called Strawberry Jam, and then the one after it, Merryweather Post
Pavilion,
which is the most obnoxiously pretentious album name. Well, whatever. There's some tracks in each album I like, but most of their pop stuff I'm not that big of a fan of.
Oh man, I feel the exact opposite way.
Like Merryweather just sounds like Fish. It's an album made not like Fish the band, Fish just like the little guys underwater. It just sounds like music for Fish because everything sounds like it's played in an ocean. It was played underwater.
Hello.
And then there's just gloopy, drippy sounds. It's like, did you ever watch Metalocalypse?
I have.
Remember the episode where they record in the submarine?
Oh yeah.
That's that album. Merryweather was recorded in a fucking submarine for the whales.
Oh man. Alex, I have to admit, I do like that album and Strawberry Jam for one reason and one reason alone. They sound like the futuristic Beach Boys. It's great. Like the first time I heard like the Beach Boys are making crazy techno music now. Interesting, Brian. Interesting move, Brian Wilson.
If all the Beach Boys were alive and taught how to operate sequencers and whatever goofy instruments they use, I think, yeah, it would sound like this. It would sound like those Animal Collective albums.
The Beach Boys are alive. And
there's a couple dead ones, aren't there?
There's one dead one, but, I mean, he played the maracas, so...
no one cares.
He wasn't really that
He was necessary. Like the Ringo of the Beach Boys.
That's true. He pretty much was.
Brian Wilson was the John Lennon and Yoko Ono all at the same time.
And he was also the Paul McCartney.
Yeah. He
the George Harrison.
Well, he wrote all the music, so it doesn't matter.
And when he left, they made Kokomo, and that was it.
Was Kokomo post Brian Wilson?
It was post Brian Wilson.
Makes sense. That song is weak.
Hey, that song is pretty good when there's Muppets involved, but yeah, other than that, it is pretty weak.
Yeah, this album was awesome. It was just goofy nonsense, but it was a little reined in. The songs had some structure.
Yeah, kind of.
Like the one I'd say I liked the most was Monkey Riches. To me, it sounded like a factory going crazy.
Yeah, that song was ridiculous.
It was just all the whirs and buzzes and clicks. I'm like, it's just all the machines in a GM factory all going at once.
Like they threw a monkey wrench into the song called Monkey Riches.
Yes.
And then it broke the song.
I read in an interview that this is sort of a concept album. The concept being, what do aliens pick up when they try to pick up radio transmissions from Earth? And like that's what we thought. It's like, what would the aliens think of it? And that's the concept.
Oh, if there was one concept album that I would pay Willie Nelson to record, that it would be that exact same concept.
You'd rather Willie Nelson do this album versus Animal Collective doing this album?
I want to hear Willie Nelson on the Animal Collective album messing shit up.
I I don't know how much more messed up this could get. It was just so all over the place.
It really was, but I feel like it was definitely missing some of that redheaded stranger talent.
So the thing that can improve this album was the inclusion of Willie Nelson.
Yes, Willie Nelson. There we go.
The first time I listened to this album, it ended and I kind of had this pause and I went, "What just happened?" I was on the drive home. This album ended basically as I pulled into my garage, turned the car off, and literally that was my reaction. I paused and went, "What was that?" But I like that. I like an album where you finish it and you go, what in the world just happened to my ears? And there's just so much stuff happening, and it's just like, it's such a sensory overload.
And there's so much that you have to listen to it again. And
Yeah.
That's how they get your money.
I think that's good. I think it's good when you have to listen to something a couple times to get it. It's also nice because every time I listened to it, I heard something new. There was some new goofiness that came out, some new freaky sequences, and
some Rick Rubin shit that he just threw into the background.
It's kind of like they were channeling Rick Rubin with some of that background stuff that was happening.
Good job, Animal Collective. Now you're like Rick Rubin. Congratulations.
I want their next album to be a concept album of what it's like to work with Rick Rubin, but not actually working with Rick Rubin.
So they're just going to be like the Flaming Lips and take your microphone and hit it against a carpet for 80 minutes?
Or 6 hours when they want to be really artistic.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, have you had a chance to listen to their King Crimson cover album?
I have not.
So fucking terrible.
I don't want to listen to it.
Can I plug that for a second? Can I just shove a mini review in here?
Yeah.
Flaming Lips covered In the Court of the Crimson King. They did a full cover album like they did Dark Side of the Moon, which was probably the laziest cover album I ever heard in my life. But this one, I'm going to recreate it for you. Just take like the shittiest blown out speakers you have and put them underwater and then play In the Court of the Crimson King. And that's what it sounds like. It just sounds like distorted underwater King Crimson.
That is a very, very, very bad idea.
It's terrible.
I'd much rather hear Kanye do a cover of every song in the Court of the Crimson King than the Flaming Lips make any more of their weird artsy music. Like before they got popular, that awful, nasty, grungy, weird Oklahoma music, that was beautiful. But now, like Embryonic and these two cover albums, awful.
Every song in Embryonic sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, it really does.
It's blown out drums, the same wah-wah effect on the lyrics.
And then the whispering.
Yes, it's terrible. This, however, just sounds like, you have 5 radios at once playing, and you just keep twisting the knobs on all of them.
Oh, like that experiment that Wayne Coyne, or whatever his name is, from the Flaming Lips did with, like, what was it, 120-some cars? And they all turned on their radios all at once?
That's not an experiment. That's just exercise in annoying the shit out of people.
Yeah, he did it, though.
Well, he had one album, which was, it's one album, but there's 4 versions of it.
Oh, yes, called
Zyreka. And so you're supposed to have 4 different audio systems, because, that's logical, because people have 4 stereo setups in their homes at once, and you're supposed to play all 4. But the wonder and wackiness of it is you're never going to truly sync them up, so it's going to sound terrible.
Yep, and I really did sync them up once. I tried, and the songs weren't worth it at all. Sorry, guys. Your artsiness didn't really pay off.
I'm going to start a list here, Ryan. This is my musical dunzo list.
Oh, no, not the dunzo list.
I'm going to steal something from the great Tom Haverford as a dunzo list. And I think I'm going to put Flaming Lips. I'm going to put the Flaming Lips on my dunzo list.
Can you put Air Supply on that list as well?
I've never heard of Air Supply.
They did such memorable songs as All Out of Love.
Haven't heard that.
Should I sing it to you?
No.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I heard how burn so long.
What was it? Air Supply?
Yeah.
Do you think they would be saved by Willie Nelson?
No, but they would be saved by Animal Collective.
Yes! What if Animal Collective covered that song?
My God. Yeah, that'll be great.
I say you should buy this album.
Yeah, you should definitely buy this. Wait, what album are we talking about?
Animal Centipede Hurts.
Oh, yeah. Everyone that listens to us, all of you should purchase Centipede Hurts.
I will put an asterisk, unless you don't like bogus, crazy music. If you can handle a little bit of nuttiness, then you should pick it up. Because it's challenging, but if you can accept it, I think actually song structure, everything all together, it's really entertaining and really catchy. A lot of cool stuff. First time in a while they've actually had a drum kit in the album. But the drums are, like, the drum kit's like some really weird concoction of like a shaker instead of cymbals and bongos and just all sorts of weird instruments instead of a traditional drum kit.
Huh.
Some reason that makes it even better.
I never noticed.
There is a video online, or a couple videos online, of their live performances. There's a pro recording from last year, I think 2011, from Pitchfork Music Festival, where they play Monkey Riches actually, and they play in Brothers Sport from the album before it, and they show the drum kit, and it's just totally crazy.
Huh.
Though the bass drum is like 50 feet wide for some reason. It's the biggest bass drum I've ever seen.
Check it out, people.
Should. Speaking of things that sound distorted, final album Ryan and I listened to was the extremely popular, well-celebrated Japandroids Celebration Rock, which features two people playing two instruments. It is 35 minutes long. And if you ask me, it sounds like a iPhone in a blender.
It's kind of like a heavier Black Keys, because, you know, the Black Keys is two people making music.
Yes.
This is like their rowdy cousin.
Rowdy cousin Black Keys, and is much worse.
Yeah, it's nothing but, like, actually the album starts off with I think it's fireworks, it sounds like.
Yes.
And then the sound just kind of carries until the end of the album.
This album drove me nuts. And Ryan and I were having a conversation before, just kind of relaying what we thought, and I couldn't stand this album on just so many levels. Not to start off with, the fireworks, they didn't steal it, but there was an album that came out a couple years ago by a band called Fang Island, and the album is awesome. The music is sort of like the musical equivalent of people giving each other high fives. It's just super awesome, positive music, and it starts with fireworks. This album starts and ends with fireworks, and it tries to do the same thing, but it's so ungodly frustrating.
I, on the other hand, didn't really mind it. I thought it was just a heavy adult alternative rock album.
Can I go on a tirade as to why I didn't like this?
Oh, please, by all means.
Okay. This is sort of a deeper topic, which please feel free to add your 2 cents to. There are trends in music, right?
Yeah.
Such as in the early 2000s, every band for some reason had a tambourine. I don't know why, but they all had tambourines. We are now in an era where lo-fi is sort of the new hot thing to do. To explain, instead of spending a lot of time having a very high-quality sounding album where everything sticks out and everything's really nice and crisp and clean, it's sort of a new trend to have a sound that kind of sounds like it's coming from like an old tape player. It's a little rough around the edges. Stuff isn't mixed and balanced as well. The general term is lo-fi. Lo-fi works sometimes. Lo-fi works when an album benefits from the rougher sound. Punk albums generally benefit from a lo-fi sound. Really experimental nonsense music benefits from lo-fi sound. A lot of black metal, or like the really darkest and broodiest and evilest of metals, you generally have a lo-fi sound. It helps bring up the grittiness that the album is trying to convey. This album also is lo-fi. And my understanding, or how I perceived it, was it's lo-fi because it kind of makes that ruckusy, rowdy, fist-pumpy, feel-good time even more, it makes it more raw. And again, I understand that generally the lo-fi is done as the artist's discretion of, we want it to sound this way. Okay, I get it. But I have an issue where it doesn't seem like the lo-fi is benefiting at all. It just makes the album sound like a total mess. And there's certain songs in this album where I could not discern anything going on. It was just like when I said iPhone in a blender, I meant it. It's like, you have your iPhone speaker playing a song off YouTube and you just shove it in a blender, turn it on. It just sounds like a total whir of noise. And occasionally I pick up something, but I couldn't tell what it was. The singer just says whoa, 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 whoa a whole lot. The guitar sounds, I swear, like it's playing two notes. Every drum beat is boom, 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 boom. It's all then muddled together because nothing was mastered or produced really well. It's just blob of noise to me. You also understand that I listen to total bogus nonsense music, like Throbbing Gristle and stuff that just sounds like pots and pans and children thrown downstairs.
We just reviewed an Animal Collective album.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, it drove me nuts the entire time. To kind of cap off this whole thought, usually with an album, there's sort of like three bands of sound. There's a high, a mid, and a low. Usually the high, a lot of times, is like sort of like maybe the guitar, cymbals. Mid is vocals, low is bass, and other parts of the drum kit. Lower toms, bass drums, whatever. There was no low range. None whatsoever. I understand there's no bassist. That's fine. But even the drums, like the bass drum, the floor toms, were mixed very high, so there was no bottom end carrying the sound. So it was just a whole bunch of high whirring sounds.
That's a really good point.
I know I sound like I'm just ranting crazily over an album that's 35 minutes long, but for some reason it was that and the addition of how much positive press it got, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. Because I've heard many other albums that kind of, to me, conveyed the same ideas, but did a much better album get overlooked.
Huh. I never actually thought about the press that it got.
It was really widely praised.
Yeah,
and
so
except for like one review, it was getting 8s and 9s and 4s and 5 stars. And
to me, that's a little absurd. I like the album. It was pretty catchy. It was like, I'm gonna have a fun time listening to this. It reminded me of like a Sonic Youth a little bit, like on their heavier songs. But like I don't understand why it was so widely praised. Like, this is no what's a popular album
that came out this year?
No, just any popular album. This is no, I don't know, Led Zeppelin 4.
No.
That's a popular album.
Out of all their albums, I've tried to kind of do the positive, all right, things are great kind of thing. Even though some of the lyrics didn't indicate, everything's wonderful. I've heard a lot better stuff. I put this in the same category as, like, your Hold Steadies and your Bruce Springsteens, where it's just kind of like, yeah, great, awesome, totally.
But that's gonna wear overalls and drink out of my garage with all my friends.
Yes.
And then we're gonna go party. Woo!
We're gonna leave this garage party and go to another garage.
Next door.
And then after that garage, we're gonna go to another one. And then it's time for lunch.
And lunch is a very, very important part of the day.
Yes.
Because without lunch, you can't have dinner.
I had a hard time even still trying to figure out why this rubbed me such the wrong way, but it just did.
It's because you don't party enough, man.
Apparently.
No, I really don't think that is the answer. Because you party a lot. In fact, I think I should go on the record and say you need to slow down a little bit, Alex.
Is this an intervention mid-podcast?
Yeah, it is. Sorry. Now what we talk about? Oh yeah, I was listening to it and I thought to myself, I think I've heard this song before, and not earlier on the album, but like somewhere else, probably at a Walmart or at an Urban Outfitters. Yeah, it's like one of those where you can like sit on the hood of your car and look at the stars and then get mad because they're so far away and you can't go there and take all the rubies.
It's a sort of a blue-collar rock punk song that's going to be listened to by privileged suburban white kids.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and relate to it going, yeah, my mom took my iPhone. You tell them all to go to hell.
Life's not fair.
I
might get a Lamborghini. Ugh.
They gave me a 97 Corolla for my 16th birthday. That's bullshit. I'm going to blast Japandroids.
Yep. Sorry, Japandroids. That's the kind of music you just made.
Well, that's their audience.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You go.
I was asking a friend of mine. She was in the car with me, and I asked her to listen to this album because I knew we were reviewing it, and I was just kind of hard pressed about the praise it got. I went, "Can you just kind of give me a critical opinion?" And she paused and went, "Why are the lyrics to every song whoa?" That was Lori's brilliant 10-second review. Was why are the lyrics always whoa?
She doesn't understand the music, man. It's
Well,
the
and
music of the Titans.
I tried to explain that to her, and she goes, "No, it just sounds stupid. I can't handle this."
It does it's a very simple, very simple songs.
I think if you accepted it that it was just it's simple, it's supposed to be kind of mindless, I would just kind of go, okay, fine. I concede to it. But that's just from what I've read and what I've looked at, that's just not the kind of press it's gotten. Sort of an opinion of this is something very highbrow, not highbrow, but just like this brand new frontier that has never been breached before.
It's like if Sonic Youth had ungrateful teenage kids, that's the kind of music they would play.
So if angsty teenagers had angstier teenager kids?
Yeah, with iPads and, nicotine-free cigarettes. Or whatever it is these kids smoke. Those e-cigarettes.
I'm going to smoke my nicotine-free cigarette. I want the lung cancer without all the calming effects.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I'm like a cowboy. Only I take a taxi to school. Or whatever it is fancy people take to school. I assume it's a taxi. Could be a limo. Could be.
The people who listen to this album, they probably take a limo. To prom at least. And they're like, we're going to listen to Japandroids in the prom limo.
Woo! Japandroids and the Black Eyed Peas.
I'm going to wear my pink ruffled shirt to look ironic.
But enough making fun of Japandroids fans. We support you guys. We want you to get better. The music you listen to isn't that bad considering all the alternatives that are out there right now that are popular. For instance, just to name a few, Justin Bieber, Skrillex.
Did you know, speaking of Skrillex?
I think it's a long I.
Skrillex?
Yeah, Skrillex. I think that's pretty accurate.
They also did a top 100 guitarist of all time. And guess who they put it as their number 100th guitarist?
Who?
Skrillex.
Guitarist?
Yeah, they said, we know he doesn't play guitar, but that one song that's really popular, it's so good that he means he's a good guitarist or something.
So he sampled somebody else and is now a great guitarist.
I think it's because he sampled a great guitarist, he's therefore a great guitarist.
Okay, Spin Magazine, whatever you say.
Their list at least had Adrian Belew on it. So at that point, I'm like, which one has more validity?
God, they're...
The one that puts Thurston Moore as the greatest guitarist of all time and Skrillex as the number 100th guitarist of all time? Or
Who the hell's Thurston Moore?
He's from Sonic Youth.
Really? The guy that plays power chords?
Yeah.
God damn it. Come on, Spin Magazine.
We like you, Spin Magazine, but seriously.
What the hell? God, everybody's getting an intervention today.
Everybody's getting an intervention. This episode is the intervention episode.
Jesus. Well, what do you think? Do you think people should buy this album? Do you think they should download it? Do you think they should pirate it? Or do you think they should just not listen to it ever?
That's a hard call for me. I have to say that most of what I said was definitely personal bias in my own goofy way. Go to your local library, see if they have it, and you should check it out and give it a listen. Maybe add it to your computer collection of songs on your computer. And if you like it, then you should buy it. But I would not say go out and buy it right away because I want to believe there's going to be people like me who are off-put by certain things on this album. Like it's sounding like a beehive in a blender. Whoa, whoa. So would you recommend this Celebration Rock? Would you celebrate to Celebration Rock?
For our listeners that are more into like poppy, positive music, yes, I would recommend it. To some of our darker, eviler, heavier listeners, I would not recommend it. at all.
If your parents gave you a 1997 Toyota Corolla for your 16th birthday, this is an album to have.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. If you like watching planes land, this is an album for you. But if you are a normal person, I wouldn't really
If you have an
venture.
American Apparel credit card, this is a album for you.
Oh, by all means, yes, please buy it. Purchase 2 copies and then mail one to Alex because he should own at least 2 copies of this CD.
So if Adrian Belew was supposed to be on your top 100 list of guitarists, where would he belong?
I don't know, in the 30s maybe.
He's the 30s? Who would be your
Yeah.
number one?
Number 1, that would have to be, oh man, the guy who was originally in Limp Bizkit, that would wear like the glow-in-the-dark paint and look really weird.
I would pick, I think that's a perfect decision. I would pick Lil Wayne.
Oh, the skateboarder?
Yeah, he used to have you might remember, he had like 1 or 2 albums. They were pretty underground. But I think
No way.
I think it was just to support his skating career.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's a great video online. He apparently was on a Saturday Night Live, and he had a guitar solo over his underground hit Lollipop. And
Did you really play guitar?
he really did play guitar.
Wow. How was it?
It sounds like I
Like
don't know.
Like a second grader playing guitar for
Sounds
the
like
first time? Just strumming.
it's like the noise of when you accidentally drop a guitar.
Oh, so he dropped it.
Well, he didn't drop it.
Oh.
Somehow he simulated the sound of dropping it by actually playing notes.
By Rolling Stone and Spin Magazine standards, I'm surprised he didn't get number 1.
You know, if Scarlett Johansson can get number 100.
Skrillex? Is that it?
I think it's Scar from The Lion King.
Oh, yeah, Scar.
He was the 100th best guitarist.
Be prepared.
Join us next time when we discuss our favorite remixes of Lion King songs.
Mine is Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Mine is I Just Can't Wait to Be Chingy.
God damn it.
In conclusion, what do we have to say about Live Volume 3 by the Avett Brothers?
Overall, I liked it. I thought it really embodied their entire artistry.
Folk music with a nice little dash of punk to spike the punch bowl.
Yeah.
Animal Collective's Centipede Hurts.
Beautiful. A clusterfuck of noise and happy and a little bit of Beach Boys.
A cacophony of sonic frequencies that for some reason put a smile on my face.
For some reason.
I can't explain why. Because it's nonsense. And Japandroids Celebration Rock.
Sonic Youth that gets paid too much.
The Sonic Youth to Sonic Youth.
AKA Generation M.